Today I want to talk about a concept in password management. Um, the rule of thumb that I use in password management is I never use the same password for systems that are managed by different organizations. So without using the same password for classes of systems, for instance, using my Facebook password in my MySpace account or using my Amazon password in my eBay account. I don't do that because I use a unique password for every system managed by a different organization. So I recently did a survey of about 50 folks just to see kind of what they were doing. It included a hodgepodge of lay people and professional IT people, and it was a very interesting thing. What the numbers show is that about 24% of the people that I surveyed use a unique password for every system. About 19% of people that I surveyed use the same password for everything, and the other 57% of people use a class-based scheme like I was talking about. Your Amazon and your eBay password would be the same, but you wouldn't share an e-commerce password with a social media password. So you wouldn't use your Amazon password in Flickr, for instance. What this means, though, is that over 75% of the people that I talk to are they're sharing passwords between systems managed by different organizations. So that would violate the rule that I've made for myself. Now, why did I make this rule for myself? Well, because when I looked at the risks are that my password could be discovered by a hacker, or it could be disclosed by someone either intentionally or accidentally. For instance, if somebody, if a database administrator at a large company, a large internet company, were to make a mistake and expose my password to the world, then people would get my password that way. If a hacker were able to gain access to the system and get the password, so there are many different ways that my password could get out there, and it does happen. The risk, of course, if that happens and you're using the same password for everything, is that now that person has the keys to your kingdom. They can get into your Amazon account, they can get into your eBay, your PayPal, and everything else that you're using online because you're using the same password. A similar but less widespread problem would occur if you were using different passwords for different classes of system. So my scheme solves that problem. It tends to isolate the problem. If somebody hacks into or discloses my password at one company, yeah, it's a bad thing and my account for that company has been compromised, but it doesn't spread automatically over into all of my other accounts. So for that reason, I use a unique password for every account. Now, of course, you do this and you're thinking, well, wait a minute, I have maybe 50 to 100 different accounts online. How am I going to remember all these passwords? That's absolutely the right question to be asking, because when we pick passwords, we're making a trade-off, right? We're trading off our ability to, our convenience of remembering the password and recalling it when it's time versus the security of our account. So here's my recommendation. It's a two-pronged recommendation. Number one, go find a password vault somewhere. Some examples of password vaults would be Password Safe for Windows, Password Gorilla Keychain or Keychain Access, which is actually built into Mac OS X. Password Gorilla is a Java-based system, so it runs on many different operating systems. If you're a command line person like I am on Linux or Unix, you can use PW Safe. The point here is to find a system that will allow you to store your passwords in one central place behind one master password. And so you pick a long, hairy, nasty password, you spend all your time remembering that one, and you don't worry about remembering all the individual passwords. One nice feature also of password vaults is many of them provide a password generator that can generate long passwords, complex passwords for you, so you don't have to constantly be coming up with them. So I highly recommend a password vault of some kind. In addition to the password vault, to make your online life a little easier, I suggest you use a browser that has a password vault built into it, like, for instance, Firefox. Firefox has the ability to set a master password, and it has the ability to remember your passwords and encrypt them behind that master password. So it's a password vault. That can make your online life a lot simpler. So here's my workflow. When I need to create a new account for an online company, I open up Password Safe or PW Safe. I create the information that I want to store. Then I go onto the site, I put in my username, I put in this long password that my Password Safe just generated, and I create the account. And then when I log in, my Firefox browser is going to say, do you want to remember it? And I'm going to say, yes, I do, and it remembers it. And so now the next time I go back to that site, I'm not going to have to go look it up in password safe. But I know that if something should happen to Firefox or my computer, I will have been able to back up my password safe and get my passwords back that way. So that's the way I do it, and that provides a certain level of security for my passwords. And remember the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is, it's very simple. It goes like this. Don't use the same password in multiple systems managed by different organizations.